Breaking right now, Boris Johnson has revealed that he was asked to try and stop Megxit from happening back in 2020. Now, these are revelations coming from his new autobiography, Unleashed, and I'll show you some of the other things he's going to talk about in just a moment. But this was...
Did Meghan Markle lie about the true story behind Megxit? And did former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson actually try to stop Prince Harry from walking away from royal life?
The first story that the Daily Mail decided to go within their serialisation. And they write, Boris Johnson made an extraordinary last-ditch bid to persuade Prince Harry not to quit the UK. The former Prime Minister reveals in his sensational new memoir that he was asked to give the Duke of Sussex a, quote, manly pep talk to convince him it would be a mistake to leave Britain for a fresh start abroad with his wife, Meghan. He reveals that in January 2020, just weeks after his landslide election win, officials in Downing Street and Buckingham Palace believed he may be able to talk Harry out of his seismic decision to quit the UK and walk away from his royal duties. The ex-PM writes that there was a, quote, ridiculous business when they made me try to persuade Harry to stay. Kind of manly pep talk. Totally hopeless. The secret meeting, which underlines the close links between Number 10 and the Palace, took place in the margins of a UK-Africa investment summit in London's Docklands. They met for 20 minutes, apparently, and a friend of Boris paid tribute to Harry's efforts on the Invictus Games and praised Meghan's work on their shared passion for promoting the education of women and young girls. And this is what the friend said. He thought they were a great asset to UK PLC, and it was a real shame they were leaving when they were doing such great work. It was a man-to-man conversation. They were totally alone, but Harry wasn't for turning. He was unpersuadable by that point. So I broke the story of Megxit back in January 2020. This was particularly interesting to me because it shows you that actually, despite what Prince Harry and Meghan claimed in their Netflix documentary and their Tissues of Lies interview with Oprah Winfrey, in fact, the Queen was doing everything possible, Neil, to try and keep Harry and Meghan within the fold, even getting Boris involved.
New explosive reports suggest that Meghan's narrative might not just be flawed, it could be a flat-out fabrication. Let's break down the shocking details being exposed now. When Harry and Meghan left royal life in 2020, they painted a clear picture, an unwelcoming institution.
Well, I'm glad he failed. I mean, if we'd had a crowdfunding exercise to pay for their tickets to California, I would happily have contributed towards it. But I mean, it's all very sad, really, isn't it, the way that Harry has been transformed by Meghan into a shadow of his former self. He did a brilliant job in creating Invictus Games and all that. What does she do? I mean, she's one of the laziest grifters you can find anywhere on the planet. All she's interested in is me, and appearing on stages and in photo shoots and waving at people, not doing anything which is the slightest use to anybody. So good riddance to them, I say. And I'm very glad that on this occasion, Boris failed in his objective.
It is quite interesting, isn't it, when you think about Maria, because Boris Johnson, I think, in history will go down as the leader who was able to deliver Brexit. And actually, he, in a weird way, delivered Megxit too, which I think we should also celebrate.
I think for me, Boris probably had very little effect. I don't know whether if I was deciding to emigrate or leave my entire family, I'm not sure some, strange man who apparently is some sort of celebrity or politician comes up to me and tells me to stay in the country and stay close to my family is going to make the slightest difference.
What's interesting, I think, is it shows the desperation.
So I'm interested to know why someone thought to ask him would make.
Well, yeah, because it shows the desperation, doesn't it, within the royal family, Neil, and just how far relations between Harry and his own relatives had sunk. The fact that they thought, oh my goodness, who can we ask? Who can we ask? Okay, we're going to have to ask Boris. Although there is some historical precedent, isn't there, Neil? Because, for example, John Major tried to be a little bit of a peacemaker during, the Diana and Charles years.
Yeah, well, that didn't end well either, did it?
No.
But, so I think history is not exactly on the royal side on that one. I mean, of course, for a family, this is a very distressing turn of events. Anybody who's experienced this kind of breakdown of relationships within a family will understand why the Queen was very keen to try to paper over the cracks and to keep Harry within the fold. But it was perfectly clear that Meghan was unbiddable in all this, and she had absolutely no interest in being a working royal at all. All she wanted was the fairy princess elements of the role. So it's she who has poisoned Harry on all these issues, in my opinion. And that's a great tragedy. And the extent that she succeeded in that, it has significantly damaged the royal family. I think we've gone beyond that now, that the true reality in all its gory technicolor has been revealed about Meghan and Harry, and the shameless way in which they have behaved and intend to continue behaving. So I think that it's very sad for the royal family, but I say for the rest of us, bring it on.
A toxic UK press, and a couple forced to flee for their sanity. But what if key players behind the scenes tried to prevent their departure and were completely ignored or shut out of the story? We're talking about Boris Johnson here. Yes, the former Prime Minister.
Well, indeed. I mean, look, Harry made a mistake not listening to Boris Johnson. That is the reality, because what has gone on in the preceding 4 years has been disastrous. It's been disastrous for his reputation. I mean, last night, there he was on American late night TV, looking around some sort of new fairground Halloween attraction. I mean, it's embarrassing. It's degrading. It isn't doing anything to support any of the causes that he claims to care about. So, yeah, I think he made a big mistake. He actually should have listened to Boris Johnson when it came to that. But look, lots more Boris revelations coming in Unleashed. Here's what he's teased so far. And the first revelations from Boris's memoir have just dropped. So firstly, he's talking about that cake moment, the moment that cost him his job, really, when he apparently broke the rules by being at a birthday party. And he says, "I saw no cake. I ate no blooming cake. If this was a party, it was the feeblest event in the history of human festivities." He's speaking a lot too about COVID times, and this will be a revelation that surprises a lot of people. Why I considered invading Holland with a dramatic canal raid to snatch our 5 million stolen vaccines back from Brussels' clutches. We never actually really needed the vaccine, so I don't think you needed to worry about that. How COVID nearly killed me. If it hadn't been for Jenny and Louis, they're his nurses, fiddling with those oxygen tubes all night with all their skill and experience, I think I might have carked it. And he says, Brexit and Bingham pulled off Britain's vaccine miracle, and naturally Labour attacked them both. So these are Boris Johnson's COVID times being revealed tomorrow, Neil. What do you make of that? He considered invading Holland to get the jabs back.
Yeah, well, I don't know whether that's just Boris being entertaining. I can't imagine he meant that in reality. But the true tragedy of what happened to Boris was that the rules which he was responsible for introducing were impossible to observe unless you locked yourself away in a padded room. And so it's no surprise that he ended up breaking them for the most trivial of reasons. But nevertheless, because of the absolutist way in which the COVID lockdowns were imposed, he was a victim of his own decisions. So, and I can't really have much sympathy with him because I opposed the whole thing. It was completely unnecessary. It destroyed the economy, the public finances, the costs of which we're continuing to pay today and will do for many, many years to come. Ultimately, he was responsible for destroying the Conservative government. That's not to say that Labour would have done any better. Obviously, they would have been even more draconian. But nevertheless, it was a catastrophic series of decisions. I'm afraid he paid the price.
This is going to be such an entertaining book. I mean, I actually agree with everything you just said, Neil. But the thing is, and I know lots of people don't like me saying this, Maria, but I just have an affection towards Boris Johnson. I know he failed as a leader in lots of ways, but I really do like Boris. And this is hilarious. This book is hilarious. I'm just going through some of these excerpts right now, Maria, that these have literally just dropped. He likens Sir Keir Starmer to a bullock having a thermometer unexpectedly shoved in its rectum. He says former Tory Prime Minister Theresa May displays a school marmy self-righteousness and writes, I was particularly fixated upon her nostrils, immensely long, pointy black tadpole shapes like a Gerald Scarfe cartoon. And he also absolutely slams Barack Obama too. So this is going to be entertaining.
According to
Maria,
insiders, he allegedly made efforts to intervene, hoping to find a solution that would keep Harry and Meghan within the fold. The plot thickens, right? This is no longer just about royal drama. It's about who controlled the narrative and who lied to the public. If Boris Johnson's role was indeed significant,
at the very least.
Yeah, a lot of my family really like Boris, or did. I think for me, being, I would say, conservative valued, what he did to the party made me like him much less. But there's no love lost now. He's like well and truly gone. I wouldn't like to see him back in politics personally, but I will probably be reading his book.
So you think it's over for him politically, because he is promising, of course, to reveal if he's going to make a big comeback. I guess you don't want him back because he could push Nigel off course.
I just think he's had his time and he made some grave mistakes and he bowed out, and it ultimately has led to the crumbling away of Conservative Party. I think I don't want to blame him for everything, but I do think he could have handled things better and he could have still been in power today, potentially. Who knows? But he didn't, and we have to move on. And I just think bringing that back is not going to be good for anyone.
Why didn't we hear about it until now? It raises the question, did Meghan deliberately mislead the world, or was this all a massive misunderstanding? What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you're tired of media manipulation, hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe for weekly breakdowns of the truth behind royal headlines, media spin, and celebrity scandals. Thanks for watching. Until next time, stay informed and stay sharp.